And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Jolly Roger, the game of piracy and mutiny. This is a small card game from Ares Games, who made Wings of War and Wings of Glory, Sails of Glory, kind of big strategy games. This is not that. In fact, this is a game for 4 to 10 players, in which players are going to work together cooperatively to get treasure, but then after that, gloves are off. So let's take a look at how it plays, and then we'll be back. At the beginning of the game, one person is determined to be the captain, and they will be the captain until otherwise determined by a mutiny. The captain at the beginning of each turn is going to appoint another player to be the quartermaster. Okay, so the captain's going to pick who they are. Then the captain is going to select where they're going to go on a destination. There are 3 places to go get treasure. There's 1 place to bury treasure, and there's a place to get more sailors, because sailors are the main thing in the game that you need to go out on things. If you go get sailors, you will turn over this card here, and it will show how many sailors each player draws, between 1 and 3, and also that there are some treasure cards that you can turn in to get more sailor cards. If you go to one of these spots, you will head to the spot that you're going to. You say, okay, we're going to go this one. The quartermaster will draw this card, but not look at it yet. And then everybody, starting with the quartermaster, will play cards. Quartermaster has to play 1 card. The cards that players will play will be crew cards. So you can see this card here is going to give 2 cannons. Now this card needs between 3 and 6 cannons. So everybody will be playing different cards that will be offering up cannons or swords or navigational symbols. And players will be playing those until everyone has decided to stop playing the cards. Once you stop playing, the quartermaster will flip this over and see if you've beaten it. So as long as we have 2 or more navigational symbols, 6 or more cannons, and 4 more swords, we then will draw 13 treasure cards. Now when you draw these treasure cards, most treasure cards are going to be 1, 2, or 3 treasure, although there's rum, which is garbage, but you can exchange it for a crew card whenever you go to port. There are also some hostages, which can be changed for more, or jewels. When you go to port, you can basically draw a different prize card for those. So those are the different cards that are available under the treasures. Once the treasures are all put out in the middle of the table, the captain gets first pick. He can take any card he wants. Then the quartermaster divides the other treasures up amongst the players any way he sees fit, but he has to spread them out as evenly as possible. So let's say there's 4 other players in the game, that besides the quartermaster, there's 5 total besides the captain. The quartermaster and has 7 cards, so he has to give everybody gets at least 1, and then a couple players gets 2. How he decides to give those out is up to him. Once he gives those out, then the captain can decide to increase morale by whipping somebody. If he does, he says, quartermaster, whip someone. The quartermaster then picks a player. That player gets whipped, which means they lose a random card from their hand. And then you move on to the next round. And this will continue on until the end of the game, where whoever has the most gold is the winner. But wait, you may say, that doesn't seem very fair. The person that's the captain has a huge advantage. Well, they do. And so any player can mutiny during a turn. There can only be 1 mutiny per round. There's 10 rounds in the game. And you can mutiny anytime the captain makes a decision. So if you say you don't like who he picks to be quartermaster, or you don't like where he decides to go, or you don't like the fact that he's whipping someone, you can declare a mutiny. When you do so, you'll play a card from your hand, and that makes you the lead mutineer, which means if the mutiny succeeds, you will be the new captain. So each player will then decide who they're going to help, if they want to help at all, and they will play cards from their hand. Here we're only looking at the number of sailors involved in the mutiny. The higher side is going to win. The captain automatically gets 1, as well as does the quartermaster, although the quartermaster does not have to back the captain. In fact, he can be the person who initiated the mutiny. So players would play cards until someone wins the mutiny, and then all the losing players on the side of the mutiny will have their treasures shuffled up, and the quartermaster will distribute them to the winners, just like he would distribute cards from going to one of these places. Now, when this happens, we start the round again. There's a new captain who will pick a new quartermaster, so on and so forth, unless, of course, the mutiny failed, in which case there is, the same old captain, and we keep going on. There are special cards in the deck that when you play them, they can be used in a mutiny or they give you a special ability. This is the surgeon. You can just automatically become the quartermaster. The old sailor. Now this guy is necessary because one of the places the captain can pick is Treasure Island. When you go to Treasure Island, everybody can take their treasures and turn them face down. This keeps them from being lost during a mutiny. It's a big deal, but you cannot do this unless one player has the old sailor card in their hand, and they play that, which allows you to do that. Here's the first mate. When the quartermaster reveals destination card, he can add or subtract 1 melee point. So he can add or subtract, mess it up for other players. This guy can play on Treasure Island. He guards the ship and cannot bury his prize cards unless he bribes another player. So essentially you can play this in someone else and they don't get to bury their treasure cards. There's a sea dog. You can force someone to be on your side during a mutiny. There is the traitor, which basically cancels another card that someone else plays. There is the powder monkey, which is basically just a +5 during the mutiny. But then you lose this card as opposed to the rest of the time when you just reveal the cards. The cook, here he can take the first prize card. So there's different special cards that you can play. Again, after mutinies, after captains, after getting the different treasures, at the end of the game, whoever has the most is the winner. There is only one winner. Okay, well, that's Jolly Roger, the game of piracy and mutiny, because really it's all about the mutinies. Sure, there's that whole thing going out there, and what will happen? The pirate will go out there, and then we'll work collaboratively together. Someone might say, oh, I'm not going to help. Well, if you don't help, you're not getting treasure. Well, if I help, you're not going to give me treasure anyway. So there's all that going on. But the game has such swings. So you get these treasures, and then people are like, huh, Captain got a good treasure there, and he got a good treasure. I don't like this thing. I'm going to mutiny. The mutinies are just chaotic affairs, and I think they work best with more players because they're just these big chaotic messes. People join this, then half of the team loses their treasure. Someone who was witting joined the wrong side of the mutiny, or they joined one of the sides, and everyone else says, ooh, if he joined that side, I'm joining this side because I want a lot of his treasure cards. And then there's the special cards. It's just a big chaotic mess. But it's a fun chaotic mess. You know, if there was a problem I had with the game, I would say that I think that I wish that the old dog card that you play that to go to Treasure Island, I feel like that's kind of that's such a weird thing. Let's all go bury treasure. Does someone have that card? No. Okay, well then we can't do it. It just seems like a weird, funky rule. Everything else is fine as long as you're okay with this high level of chaos. Now, normally I don't know how much I would like this level of chaos, but in a big group of people, it's fun, and the theme is really strong. Like whipping somebody to make them lose a card. It's hilarious, and you can, why are you whipping me? You don't get angry. That's why I'm mutinying you, because you're going to whip me, and it's not even that big of a deal because you're making someone lose a card that they could use to help. Or maybe you're whipping someone so that they lose a card so that they don't do a mutiny against you. And the mutiny, again, can take someone from the top as the captain to the bottom. And so this is all going on. The artwork is fun. There's just a lot going on involved with the game. And so I like it. I mean, I don't love it. I don't know that I would want to play it all the time because of that. Again, there's that high level of just playing cards. There's a big take that factor to the game. But it is entertaining. I think the pirate theme is very strong in this game. And overall enjoyable, and it feels a little bit different than many of these other take-that games because you kind of have this focus point of let's all work together to get treasure, and now you can't have any. Almost like a quicker version of Cutthroat Caverns. Anyhow, that's Jolly Roger, the game of piracy, and most certainly mutiny. Dice Tower Judgment approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!